I'm Chef Dina Knight, and I'm glad that we have everybody here and also all over the world right now joining us. I know we have some people in California and Georgia and South Africa. So welcome to all of our web participants as well as our local participants. And if for any reason during the class, this is for our web participants, something goes offline or whatever, I am recording it. So just refresh your screen. Usually that fixes the issue. And if it doesn't, I'll send you the link for later. So I wanted to, if we could have everybody take their seats. If you have a cell phone, if you could go ahead and silence that, that would be good. Any kind of noisemakers so that we don't have a lot of distraction. We still have one less student who's going to be coming, so we're just going to get going because it's time to eat. So the whole purpose of this course is to kind of start to get us thinking about what it means to eat what I call a green diet. Okay, and a green diet is basically a return to fresh, flavorful, real food, not this processed, homogenized, pesticide-laden stuff that's chemical experiments that we seem to have a lot on our shelves. And those foods that, you end up purchasing actually end up resembling chemistry experiments more than real food. And would you rather eat something that came natural from the garden or something that got man-made in a laboratory? That's kind of where we're going with this slow food movement. Have you guys heard of that movement that's going on? So as far as a green diet is concerned, we're looking at several different aspects of green living, of enhancing your health, as well as how we are making our personal impact on the environment, which a lot of people don't realize how their diet is actually impacting the environment. And so I'm not going to go into a whole lot of preaching about the environment and all that right now, but just by doing some simple things, we can reduce our impact on natural resources, on how much fuel consumption is being used, on how much chemicals end up put into our water supply or into our air. I mean, because they end up coming back on us anyway, right? If they go out there, whatever happens out there comes back to us. So that's one of the reasons why it's really important for us to start looking at ways that we can reduce our impact on the environment as well as on our personal environment, which I would say our bodies. A lot of the foods that we end up taking in don't actually support our health. They end up destroying our health, and that's definitely not what we want. So on a positive note, there's really easy ways and delicious ways to be able to make these changes so that you can get these foods into your diet in a way that, you're not feeling totally deprived and like you're giving up everything, because that's not the point. Who likes going on a diet? Does anybody? Okay, right, because I always tell people, for every diet there's an equal and opposite binge. So you start on one path and you're like, oh, I gave up this and this and this, and somehow that, all of a sudden is going to get you to the holy grail of being the enlightened diet person, but that's not really how it works. It's all about really making those transitional steps that when you start adding in more good things to your diet, then the other stuff's just not really as appealing. Like Sherry, you were saying earlier that, the processed food that you used to eat, your taste buds change after a while. And so in the beginning when you're making these changes, it can be a little bit overwhelming and a little bit like, kind of a little bit of a steep learning curve. So I'm trying to give you enough information to kind of get some of the terminology covered, as well as, how do you use some of the equipment, how do you, what does it mean to mix up these different things, and why do I want to do this? So kind of give you a nice little foundation to get started on. This is really a beginner's class. So if you've been eating raw foods for 20 years, you're probably going to learn some new recipes and stuff, but this is really geared towards someone who's really trying to incorporate more of this into their life in a way that is doable. So